investigating a possible al-Qaeda threat in North Africa. But the FBI in Libya for just a few hours. Questions have to be asked about American intelligence operations and the security that we have in place for our American officials at our embassies. Former intelligence officer for Secretary of Defense Rumsfeld and former member of the Homeland Security Council Mike Barrett, and Rich Brewer, former Marine Embassy security guard who received a Purple Heart after being injured in a suicide bomb blast at the Beirut Embassy in 1984, join us. All right, gentlemen, you just heard me with the general. The issue of our making a decision to put the FBI in charge to go in 3 weeks later to a crime scene that's been looted, burned, and pretty much destroyed, is that a decision that you see as one that will bring any resolution to the problem here? And I'll start with you, Mike Barrett.
No, we've clearly lost any kind of initiative that you're going to have in terms of collecting the right kinds of evidence and really, frankly, using the intelligence networks to find the right kinds of people to go after these guys. We know that there's a huge number of insurgency groups within Libya, and you would obviously want to be on the ground and building those relationships. And frankly, what I think it shows is just that the administration is not taking this threat seriously. Their narrative is that the war on terrorism is over and essentially that there's going to be peace throughout the Middle East, and that's what they want to believe, and all all evidence to the contrary.
And Rich Brewer, I mean, in a situation like this, and you've been a Marine who's protected some of our embassies. I mean, is this a kind of scenario where we should send in the FBI, or is this something that the Marines should be handling?
I think this is something that the Marines should be handling, the military should be handling, and sending in the FBI actually degrades the thought process that this is an act of terrorism versus a criminal act. And what we should be doing is putting forth a military effort versus putting together a military or a criminal investigation. I mean, it's been 20 days since this has happened. We put in the FBI, and this is not degrading the FBI, but we put them in for an hour yesterday onto the crime scene. Whatever evidence they gathered is irrelevant. We needed a military response. We needed it about 20 days ago, and we needed it strong to send a message to those individuals that if you hit us, we're going to hit you harder, and it's going to hurt harder, and you do not want to do that to us.
All right, Mike Barrett. Now, the fact that we appear weak in the Middle East right now. They're killing Americans, and we're sending in the FBI because, and with all due respect to the FBI, they were too scared to go in, or we couldn't provide them with the military security to get in there. We got reporters who get the ambassador's diary. I mean, what is the policy of the administration besides it being disengaged? But how do they protect Americans in the Middle East now?
Well, I think it's exactly as your last guest said. I mean, this is a part of the region that unfortunately forces what speaks loudest. And so, we in an effort to appear open to negotiation and diplomacy and sort of rapprochement to sort of have a détente with the forces over there, we've decided to declare that we're getting out of conflicts and to present an open hand, if you will, as opposed to being strong. And so the weakness there pervades throughout our policy across the entire region. And I think one of the big failings of the administration, therefore, is that we're not being honest with the American public in terms of the types of attacks that are going to happen on our interests throughout the region, nor with Americans who are choosing to be in that region as students. I had a Fulbright, an example in Turkey. And, you get security briefings from the State Department. So we're not being honest with students who are over there, with business people that are traveling throughout the region. And I think, frankly, you're putting more people at risk because of a policy of domestic politics in the election.
All right. And very quickly, Rich Brewer, I mean, a consulate or an embassy should have 30 to 40 Marines covering it. Why would the Department of State and Hillary Clinton make a decision to not give the ambassador the protection he needed?
Failed policy. I mean, it's as simple as that. I mean, when we look at the security on the ground in Benghazi, no consulate should have been left that naked, that unprotected, especially on 9/11, with the ambassador president on hand. Look, we have a president who is so willing to claim responsibility or credibility for killing Osama bin Laden, yet when it comes to the fact that we lost an ambassador and 4 others, he's not willing to accept responsibility for the loss of life as he is to accept credibility for the taking of a life of Osama bin Laden. And
Very interesting.
if you're going to accept
good point.
if you're going to accept the credibility for taking the life, you need to accept the responsibility for losing the lives.
All right. Thanks to Mike Barrett and Rich Brewer. Thanks for being with us, guys.
Thanks, Judge. Thanks
right.
for having me.
Coming up.